Hello everyone. This week is going to be a bit of a heavier topic, I think. I'm talking about loneliness, and I am alone again. Um, Partly a lack of preparation on my end. Plus, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've actually been through. So, I think a lot of people need to hear this. I'm going to start off with some statistics here. 52% of Americans report feeling lonely. 47% report their relationships with others aren't meaningful. 59% of Americans say they have a best friend. That number should be way higher. 12% say they feel they don't have any close friends. 12% of people, more than 1 in 10 people, say they have zero close friends. Zero. 50%, 57% of Americans report eating all meals alone. And I'm actually kind of part of that. I kind of eat breakfast with people. I kind of eat lunch with people. Different table, but same time, I guess. Yeah. 61% of young adults report being chronically lonely. That's pretty incredible. I am kind of speaking from the heart this week. I normally don't do this. It's going to be a bit of a testing ground for me. It's going to feel a little weird. But I hope that it brings value to at least one person. Because I've been through it. And I know how it feels to be very lonely. I also don't want to make this episode just about me. I don't want to be selfish or come off as prideful in any way because I've been through this and I've kind of found a solution. But at the same time, I am me, and a lot of the examples and things that I've been through, I've been through. So it's going to be a little tough for me not to just talk about myself, but I'll do my best. Being lonely, I don't know. It sucks. Obviously, a lot of people feel very lonely right now. And in the past, I have too. And I just want to say that if you think of everyone who dies, let's take every person who dies. They always have people that are very upset that they're gone. And I know a big thing with loneliness is you don't necessarily believe that anyone would care if you're gone. And that's why suicide rates are so high right now. They go hand in hand with loneliness. And this is such a big problem in the United States. And I also do know that loneliness is way worse for women. Or maybe that it's not worse, but more women experience loneliness. So it's going to be kind of difficult to speak for the women here. I think when you feel lonely, it's for different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons. You can feel lonely as you have no romantic partner. You can feel lonely as you have no close family. Your family isn't very close. You can feel lonely as you don't have any friends, or your friends aren't super meaningful relationships, or whatever. And so I'm going to try and tackle each one of those. So we'll start with romantic relationships. Why you shouldn't feel lonely if you're stuck being single. I don't know. It's definitely tough. When you work on yourself a lot and you become the person that you think is great for someone else, but that someone else just doesn't show up, or when you think that someone else is here and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, and I'm not talking about myself here. I just want to make that clear. Uh, it is tough because you think, oh, I've worked so hard at becoming this person who's going to be not a trophy for someone else, but sort of. Like, you want to be the person that someone is proud to admit that they're dating. Like, you want your girlfriend to be like, yes, I'm dating Joey. And then people that they say it to are actually going to take that and respect my girlfriend from that. Like, that's what I want. And I think that's what most men want, and that's why it's kind of difficult to speak from a women's perspective here, although I think that can apply for women too. So romantic relationships, it is very difficult because you're working on yourself. You should be. You should be working on yourself. If you feel lonely and you aren't in the gym, if you aren't reading any sort of books, if you don't have a job, if you don't work hard at your job, if you don't go out and try to socialize with anyone, it can be your friends, it can be your family. If you don't do those things, it sounds a little rude, but don't expect a romantic partner. Don't expect someone to love you for who you are. If who you are is lazy, not social at all, I don't know, I can't think of the word for that for some reason. Antisocial. Don't expect a romantic partner if you're actively being antisocial, if you're out of shape, if you don't have a job. Because you don't deserve it. Like, you really don't. And those are harsh words, but you feel lonely for a reason, and there's ways to fix it. There's always ways to fix it. Would you rather me tell you that, yes, you are perfect? You are perfect. You have nothing that you need to change. And no one is showing up, and no one's liking you still. Would you like that? Would that make you feel better? It gives you the excuse that you're looking for, but it still doesn't satisfy you because you know in your mind that there is something that you can do to make yourself better for someone else. So, but that isn't really coping with, and a good cope. Like, you should find a way to cope with being single if you really want to be in a relationship. You should find a way to cope. But those are some ways to get out of being single. If all those are things that you're working on, aka you're in the gym, you're working very hard to be valuable to a lot of people. Maybe you have no hobbies. Maybe you're working hard to find a hobby. You find a hobby, you start doing well at it, and you really enjoy it. And maybe there's some people there that enjoy your hobbies well, and you talk to them, not necessarily from it for romantic relationships, but just to make friends, to socialize, to really practice talking to people and making new friends and practicing your first impressions and stuff like that. If you're doing all this stuff and you still aren't finding a romantic partner, what do you do? This is going to be a little tough for some people because what I did is I strengthened my relationship with God. And I think that really helped me realize that I wasn't actually lonely. And like I said, there's 3 ways that you can really be lonely in romantic relationships: friends and family. And likely, if you're missing out on one of those, the other 2 you still have. And you may be missing out on 2 of those, and 1 you still have. And if you're missing out on all 3, good luck. I've never been in that situation. I've always had very strong family ties. I've always had very good friends. So the romantic relationship's really the only one that I've really felt lonely with. Really felt lonely with. I've never felt lonely in regards to my family or friends. So strengthen your relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with God, you need to find some sense of community, I think, if you're missing out on all three of those. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a church, but a church is a great place for it. You need to find some sort of club, some sort of community to talk to people. You have to go out and really put in the effort to socialize. Really put in the effort to go up to strangers, introduce yourself, tell them what you're interested in, ask them, first ask them what they're interested in, and then when they ask you back, then you can tell them. It has to be intentional. You have to be very intentional with everything that you do when you're lonely. If you don't want to be lonely, I would argue that it's okay to be lonely. An important thing to remember, too, is that these emotions you're not going to feel forever. So that's why I say it's okay to be lonely, because you're not going to be lonely forever. If you were, I'd say it's probably a very, very, very negative thing to be lonely. But when you experience loneliness, the times that you're not lonely and you really have a really, really good friend or a really, really good relationship with one of your parents or both of your parents or your entire family, or you have a great romantic relationship, you're going to remember back on when you were lonely, and you're really going to appreciate these relationships that you have. The most famous and rich people on earth feel lonely. So if you think that it's not normal for you to ever feel lonely, well, you're in for it. You're in for it. You really gotta know that we're all human and we all experience these emotions. And these emotions don't go on forever. The romantic ones, some sense of community. Go to a church. Go to a club. Join a club. I'd say join a club of a hobby that you really enjoy. I wouldn't recommend literally going clubbing, although that might actually be a good idea because you get to socialize. Yeah. You find some sense of community. My relationship with God is really what made me feel less lonely in the romantic relationship department. Because I realized that, what's so bad about it, Yeah, I wish I had a romantic partner, but it's a big commitment, and I'm still young, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, and not in a selfish way. I want to work on this podcast, and I want to, and it takes a lot of time, and I want to work hard at my job, and that takes a lot of time too. And this is all stuff that is not going to be as fulfilling as a romantic partner will be in the long run. But I can have my cake and eat it too, where I can spend a certain number of time working on my podcast, working to build some sort of following and some sort of wealth before I have such a commitment that I have to spend so much time on. That commitment is super fulfilling, or so I hope. But like I said, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can periodize these things. You could say, I am fully going to cut off any romantic relationship for the next year and super, super, super work on myself. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to... I need to think of some other hobby that's not podcasting. I'd say you like pool. You like pool. Not a pool, like swimming pool, but like billiards, like hitting the balls, Yeah. If you enjoy that, Say you just go to the gym every day. You go to a pool house and you play pool against these guys that are way better than you every day, and you work hard at your job, and you read some books to learn about humans and psychology and whatever else you're interested in. And maybe some life improvement stuff. Maybe you listen to podcasts like Modern Wisdom and Joe Rogan and Jocko Willink. Maybe you spend a year doing that. You really grow as a person. And then you set that time. And then when that time's up, you say, okay, now's the time. I've improved a lot. I've come a long way. Now I think I'm ready. And likely you will be ready. You probably will. If you spend all that time. And you know, I hate the whole idea of, oh, I'm doing this for myself. I'm working on myself. Because it's so selfish. The way the world views it is selfish, but it's such a real and good thing that you can do. It's really good to work on yourself. It's really good to make your life better. Because the better that you are in your mind, likely the better you'll be able to serve other people. I imagine in a couple of years, when I have more experience in podcasting and in life in general, I'll be able to give way better advice than I am right now. And that's the whole idea of it. You work hard for 6 months or a year and focus on really improving yourself and really becoming a better person who's more suitable to help others with advice, with physical labor, with experience. And that will help loneliness. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Second one, friends. This is one I really haven't struggled with, but like I said, 12% of Americans say they have 0 close friends. Let that sink in. Over 10%. Over 1 in 10 people, because it's literally 12%. Over 1 in 10 people in the United States. If you put 10 people in a room, one of those people have 0 close friends. Not one. In their eyes. And see, I think that's probably where that percent is skewed. It's kind of weird because that is the percentage that really sticks out, at least to me. And yet it's the smallest percent out of all of those that I read. Why is that? I think maybe because it's so incredible. I just assume that everyone has close friends. And, maybe you don't. If you don't, I would encourage you to really look at your life. Look at your day, one day, and just see how much time you waste in your eyes. So, I like to read sometimes. You may think that's a complete waste of time. If you're spending 30 minutes of your day reading, you can say, oh, that's another 30 minutes that I'm wasting. If you play video games, you can... I think most people would take their video game usage and count that as wasted time. Whatever it is, just look at everything you do in one day and say, how much time am I wasting? And if you have over an hour of wasted time, which I would argue most people have at least 3 hours a day of wasted time, including myself. I am not saying I'm perfect. I've gotten better, but that really has nothing to say because I am still probably at that point, if not worse. Yeah. Look at how much time you're wasting and find something productive to do in that time that involves other people. Like I said before, find a hobby. If you enjoy playing pool, if you enjoy archery, if you enjoy podcasting, maybe you do enjoy video games and you don't see that as a waste of time. Now, I would encourage you to probably find something in person that you can do with other people. If you like to play an instrument, you have to find other people that like what you like. If you go to your gym, but you don't talk to anyone, talk to someone. Talk to someone. It doesn't have to be the girl that you've wanted to talk to the whole time, or it doesn't have to be the biggest person in the gym, or the one that has the most people around them at all times. Like it can be anyone. It can be anyone. Go up to someone, say, "Hey, man, how many sets do you have left?" And then when they answer, you say, "Okay, thank you." And then maybe you stick around. Maybe you say, introduce yourself. "Hey, I'm Joe. What's your name? What do you like to do?" You'll find people that like what you like. And that generally happens when you're in the same vicinity as someone doing something, doing the same thing. So you're both in the gym. So a lot of people who are in the gym enjoy the same sorts of things. So that's a good way, I think, to make friends if you feel like you're alone. But I'd also argue that number is skewed, that 12%, because I think people have more close friends than they think that they do. If I was asked how many close friends I have, I would immediately, without thought, I'd probably say, maybe 2 to 4. Maybe 2 to 4 close friends. But then when I think about it, for even like 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, you know what? I have a lot of people that if I really messed up and I really needed help, that I could call. And they would be glad to help me. Or maybe not even that I messed up, but I just need some sort of favor. I have a ton of people that I could call. And that's not talking myself up. This is talking my friends up. And I think a lot of people have more people that would do that for them than they genuinely think. And maybe I'm lucky that it's more obvious because my friends are incredible. But I'm sure that you do have someone that would, if you really asked for a favor, they'd do it. And not because there's any benefit to them, but because they love you and they enjoy making you happy. You know, that's another thing. Strangers, I enjoy making strangers happy. I enjoy making people smile, even if I don't know them. And I think everyone's like that. You can find some fulfillment in that. If you're really, really struggling, and you are really lonely, if you work hard at your job and you have some money to spare, dude, I just encourage you, go to a restaurant and tip $100. See someone's face light up, and dude, it'll make your day. It'll make your day. It doesn't even have to be about money. You could go do just something nice for someone. You can go to a homeless person. Hey, dude, do you want a water? Do you want a meal? It'll make your day. It'll make your day by making someone else's day. And that's a double win. That's a double win. Where was I? Well, friends. Yeah, I mean, that's all I could say. Find a hobby that you really enjoy, that you actually genuinely enjoy. Find some way to use that to connect with other people And you'll find very close friends very quickly. Because if you're enjoying this hobby, say it's pool, you'll go to a pool house every day. You'll see the same people there. And soon enough, you'll be close friends with them. If you really don't have anyone. But I'd argue to check how much time that you have in a day that you're wasting. In your opinion. How much time, in your opinion, are you wasting? And find something to do that is social with that time. Now with family. Family is a tough one because generally these people are in close vicinity to you. It's like saying you're alone in a room full of people. You live in the house with these people, and these people are your family, but you don't even know them. I'm super blessed to have never had this issue. But coming from someone who has never had this issue, but can see how it could happen, I may have some good ideas. And you can take this or leave this. I'd like to also point out is I am just talking from the heart. So, yeah, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a genius. I'm just a dude who's living, who's seen some stuff, who's been through some stuff. Everyone has, of course, not just me. But I've been through different stuff than other people, and you have been through different stuff than me. And Justin Bieber has been through different stuff than you and I, both. So it all works out, and we're all able to help each other with what we're struggling with, and what we have struggled with, and what we've gotten through. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. So, with family, I don't know. Family's got to be a tough one. It's probably the toughest out of the three. Because you're really forced to see these people that you feel you have no connection with. It may be the hardest emotionally, but I also think it might be one of the easiest to solve. Easiest and hardest. Oh man, it's so complicated. So complicated. If you have someone in your house that's, say you get a dad that is just on drugs and you don't even recognize him when he's sober, or the other way around. I don't know. That's tough. It's not like you can just replace him like you can with a friend. That is one of the, yeah. Family's hard, man. Family's hard. If you are not an only child, I'd say you can generally find something with your sibling that you can relate to. You can find in comparison with them something that you both think. You can joke around with them about stuff about the family and, make good fun of or with them about things going on in the family, because no one understands you. No one can understand you more than a sibling, because you're constantly with them. And if you're not constantly with them, but you're forced to live with them, well, are you surprised that you feel lonely in regards to your family? If you're forced to live with someone but you don't spend any time with them, then you can't expect to be close to them, heart to heart. You can't expect that. You have to put some effort in. Unless your whole family's on drugs and just out of their minds, likely you have one person, at least one person, that you can talk to. A grandparent, a mother or father, a sibling. I don't know. You gotta have someone, an uncle, an aunt. Most people have someone. And if you're over 18 and you have no one, well, maybe it's better to get out of that situation and really embrace the other two, or at least embrace friendships. A romantic partner will come when you become the person that is great for someone else. It's a Jordan Peterson thing. He always says, what makes you think that if the right person, the quote-unquote right person that you're always asking for comes around, what makes you think that they're not going to run away and scream from you? Scream and run away from you. What makes you think that? Because maybe they're great already. They're working on, they've already done the dirty work. They've already shed off the mess that they had and the laziness that they had, and everything. Maybe they already did that and you haven't. They're going to see you and be, that was me. That was me. I don't want that. I don't want that. So you don't hope for the right person to show up for you. You just become the person that is right for someone else, and then that person will automatically gravitate towards you, and likely more than one person will, which is great. But it only has to work one time. It's a Hormozy thing too. People will constantly tell you, with the girls that you bring home, oh, it's never going to work out. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. And yes, they're right 90% of the time. But you only have to be right once to be right 100%. So I think he said it like 99% right, but 100% wrong. Because once that 1% happens, the other 99 times don't matter. Don't matter. This has to go with everything. With romantic partners, with businesses, with, what else? I don't know, with hobbies. You just try a hobby and you end up not enjoying it. People say, oh, you're not going to get good at that. You're not going to get good at that. And maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be horrible at it for 5 years. But once you're good, all the time that you weren't good doesn't matter. And those people who said you weren't going to make it, it doesn't matter. They were wrong. They were wrong. 99% right, but 100% wrong. That's a good thing to help with rejection, too. If you realize that you only have to be right one time. This only has to work once. There's, 3.5 billion women in this world. Now, break it down to your close to your age and single, the number's significantly lower, but still incredibly high. And, if you strike out with one, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. It's such a weird thing to talk about because no one wants to hear that you are going to fail. No one wants to hear that. They want to hear, this is how you're going to succeed. This is how you're going to succeed. This is what you do to win every time. This is the pickup line that gets you the girl every time. But real life doesn't even work like that. Not in romantic relationships, not in businesses, not in hobbies, not in podcasting, not in friendships, not in anything. There's a reason why people work very hard and very long to become good at something. And that's why they say practice makes perfect. And practice will never make perfect, but practice constantly will make better and better and better and better and better and better. And maybe past perfect. You constantly just keep getting better and better and better and better at these things. So like I said, I don't know, like the first time you ask a girl out, maybe you have a 10% chance that she says yes because you're sloppy, you're not confident, you're obviously nervous, you're shaking. I don't know, you say the wrong words, whatever it is. You have a 10% chance of her saying yes. And she says no. Of course. It's your first time. You can't expect her to say yes. Even if you are great for her, she doesn't know that. So don't take it to heart. But then number 2 comes up, your second time. And maybe there's a 15% chance. Because you're slightly more confident. You still say the wrong words, but at least this time you were calm. You spoke nicely. And maybe the next girl says no. But then number 3. And on. You know, you're going to get better at these things. And that's why 99% wrong, 99% right, but 100% wrong. Because, yeah, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get rejected 15 times, maybe. But once that 16th girl comes around and you ask her out and she says yes and it all works out and you get married and have a successful family with her, the other 15 girls that you asked out and said no don't matter. Hormozy said that his first 9 businesses failed. His first 9. That's way more of an investment than asking 9 girls out and getting rejected there. And I know Hormozy is this guy who is like a Jocko Willink and like a Joe Rogan, like, yeah, work your way out of this. He's like, just be better, kind of. And I know that's not what he means, but that's somehow what people take from him a lot. And I'm only saying that because I don't want to degrade his information at all. I think he's a genius, and he really has helped a lot of people get out of laziness and loneliness, and being unhappy. Because he talks about that happiness is not his ultimate goal. But like, I'm trying to be not that right now and just say that yes, it's going to suck. Yes, you are going to fail. Yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. You're going to disappoint yourself. You're going to disappoint others. You're not going to get the girl. Your first business is going to fail. Your first podcast is going to fail. You're going to underperform what you think you can do. It's just going to happen. But the only route to success is consistency or luck. And let me tell you, luck doesn't come around very often. So it's mostly consistency. Work hard, man. Work hard. There was a study done, and it was a class of clay makers. I don't know what you call these people. People who make clay pots, whatever. I literally did this class in high school, and I can't even remember what it was called. Pottery. There it is. There was 2 classes of pottery. One class was told that all they had to do in the semester was create the best pot possible. 1 pot, but the best pot possible. And the other class was told they were supposed to make the most amount of pots possible in this semester. And what they found at the end is that even though the first class only had to do 1 pot, that their pots were actually worse than the pots of the second class, who just made as many pots as possible. And that just shows reps, consistency, reps, keep doing it. Keep doing whatever you want to be good at. If you're not good at it, that will come with time. You don't learn to play the guitar in 1 day. You just don't. You don't. The song isn't going to sound beautiful if you've this is such a weird wording. Okay. If you're playing Stairway to Heaven, it's going to sound a lot better than it's going to sound a lot better if you've been playing guitar for 7 years and you randomly just hear the song and play it than you are if you're practicing that song for one day and you play it at the end of the day. Like, even stuff that isn't doing the thing, but it's close to doing the thing, is going to make you better at doing the thing. I'm not great at podcasting yet. And you know what's going to get me better at podcasting? Not just podcasting, but talking to random people, talking to my friends about stuff that I enjoy talking about, stuff that I don't know much about. It's not podcasting, but it helps. It helps with these skills. If you want to play a sport, yes, playing that sport is how you're going to get better at it. But not even just that. Playing other sports to get your body in shape to play that one sport that you want to be good at. If you want to be, I don't know, a really good, really smart, educated person. If you want to be that, reading books is good. That is going to get you smart. But that's not the only thing that's going to get you smart. Talking to people about stuff that they know a lot about that you don't, that's going to get you better at being smart. I can do this with anything. Anything. If you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle, yes, riding a motorcycle is going to get you better at that. But you know what's also probably going to get you better at that? Is working out so your body becomes equipped to handle the weight of the motorcycle. This I could go on and on and on and on and on about this stuff. On and on. Like I'm not. If you want to be a good podcaster, I'm trying to be a good podcaster. And I'm speaking to myself here. I'm not going to become that just from podcasting. Yes, it's going to help. And yes, I will become a good podcaster if I podcast for 5 years straight and still talk to nobody. But maybe it only takes a year if I go out, try and make conversations with people that I don't know. Just talk to people, man. I know this was about loneliness, and now it's kind of gone to something else, but geez, I feel like I needed to talk about this, man. This stuff is there's really no excuse. It's really no excuse. One of the greatest things Hormozy just said that I heard and was like, oh, that's good, is that when people say, oh yeah, I'm not going to be successful because I grew up in a poor family. The only response to that, the only correct response to that is say, okay, yep, you're right. You're right. Yep, you're going to grow up and you are going to be poor because you were born in a poor family, and that's just how it is. It's not your fault, though. Is that person going to be satisfied with that answer? Like I said earlier. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? An excuse? Or do you really want pity? You don't want... It's like you want an excuse so you don't have to work hard and become something great. But at the same time, you want to become something great. So that excuse serves you zero. Zero. Instead of saying that, you know, when you tell someone, oh, yeah, you're right. You are going to fail in life and it's not your fault. Oh, that sucks for you. They're not going to be satisfied with that answer. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, maybe there is something I can do. Maybe I can work hard at my hobby and maybe make it into a job or something. Something like that. If you're feeling lonely, just remember that you're probably not as lonely as you think. And there's hotlines if you need them. There's, ironically, I think more than half the population is feeling lonely. So you literally are not lonely in being lonely. You are not the only person who feels lonely. These emotions come and go. They are not forever. And there's always something that you can do to make it better. Mindset change, a behavior change, relationship with God. You got to do something. I'm praying for you, everyone. Thank you for sticking by. If you enjoyed, like and share and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And I'm hoping I can have more of these heart-to-heart conversations. I'm not going to hold you any longer. I really like that, though. So I'll see you next week, everyone. Have a good day or night or morning. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy and you find yourself coming back on the regular, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you never miss a full episode when it comes out. These are going to be coming out every week, and you don't want to miss them. There's a lot of knowledge and stuff. If you want to watch another episode, go to the left of your screen right there. You can click it. If you're watching on a TV, you're not going to be able to click it, but that's okay. So thank you again for sticking by and watching till the end, and I will see you next time.